in a story we continue to follow, Judicial Watch has obtained new documents through a Freedom of Information Act request that reveals the FDA has been involved in research that utilizes humanized mice. According to the documents, the FDA purchased aborted babies' heads, organs, and other tissues, which scientists then implanted in mice. These humanized mice were then used to test biologic drug products. Joining me now to talk more about this is Meredith DiLiberto, senior attorney at Judicial Watch. Meredith, welcome back. Thanks so much for coming on again. We appreciate it. I know Judicial Watch received nearly 200 pages of records and communications between the FDA and Advanced Biosciences Resources. Can you tell us more about what was discovered in those documents?
Sure, and thank you for having us back again. These were documents that were previously produced by the FDA, but they redacted a large amount of information, mostly financial information, and we successfully fought those redactions in court. The judge agreed that we were able to get some of that information. So what we got was essentially the same records, but more information out of those records.
And can you talk a little bit more about that? I know that the FDA spent, I guess, nearly $60,000 on fetal body parts back in 2012. Can you talk more about that, and also those fees for services schedule, which included special processing and preservation?
The thing that we had a theory when we looked at the original documents, and that was that the federal government was paying for body parts, which is illegal under federal law. What we needed, though, was some of this information to become public. And what happened was when they released these schedules, what it proved was that we were correct. They weren't paying for processing fetal tissue. They're paying for individual organs and individual pieces of these aborted human children. And that is illegal according to federal law.
Yeah, and that money is taxpayer money that is going to this gruesome research. What are the implications of that?
That is a very good question. There were criminal referrals from both the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. When some of this started to come to light, thanks to the undercover videos from Center for Medical Progress, both houses, both the Senate and the House, had a very in-depth meetings and hearings, and people were deposed. And they sent criminal referrals to the Department of Justice and the FBI, and neither one of those groups has said what became of those criminal referrals.
And Meredith, I know during the Trump administration, the FDA actually terminated its contract with a supplier of the aborted baby parts. Do we know why that contract was terminated?
What we have is the letter that the government issued. And it was kind of nondescript. It said they were concerned about how the how ABR was operating, and that they were in compliance with the federal law that prohibits trafficking of human fetal tissue. The problem is that we know that the federal government is still buying aborted human tissue. And so has the federal government stopped paying other companies? ABR was definitely complicit, but so was the federal government.
And Meredith, where do you think we go from here? What do you think should be done?
I definitely think there needs to be more an outcry to find out what happened with those criminal referrals. I'm sorry. That's not a small thing to have congressmen submit those. We need to know what became of that. I also think there needs to be a bigger cry for transparency in these kinds of cases. This is 100% taxpayer money. We have a right to know if our taxpayer money is being used to harvest and traffic human aborted fetal tissue. These babies are at least 14 weeks old when they are aborted and used. They were not allowed to have chromosomal defects. Sometimes they asked for specifically for boys, for girls. This is gruesome, and as taxpayers, we have a right to know what's going on.
Yeah, it is so disturbing. It's really kind of unbelievable. Before I let you go, we have a little less than a minute left. Is there any more information that was uncovered that you think is really important for our viewers to know?
I think the thing that stands out to me is the federal government, even after ending this contract, tried to withhold this information. Why? The people need to question why our federal government is covering up for potential breaking federal law. Why is the federal government covering that up? And then we need to make our voices heard.
Yeah, well, Meredith, thank you so much for coming on again. We really appreciate it. Meredith DiLiberto, senior attorney at Judicial Watch. Thanks again.
Thank you.